Hello and a very good afternoon to everyone from Calcutta. I hope that you guys are keeping fine. So this video is about the review of the Indian Premier League 2020-21. Technically it's definitely only 2020, but I mean the 2021 season will be coming up next. So this will be a review of the 2020 and the preview of the 2021 season for the Indian Premier League that we can expect. The Indian Premier League 2020 was definitely held under extraordinary circumstances, as we all know that the world is still going through the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's been a difficult time for people across the world, across spectrums of sports, and people who are not also involved with sports. But coming back to the sports and the main topic of this video about Indian Premier League, I think the IPL 2020, which had been held in United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, has been exceptionally well arranged and very much well organized and coordinated tournament, and we saw some great players and great performances. So I will take very briefly the performance of each and every team, and I will come at the very last to Mumbai Indians, who have been the champions. So if we start with the first team that has actually ended at the bottom of the table, that is Rajasthan Royals. I think Rajasthan Royals had a great tournament, though they have finished last in the table, but I think they have had some brilliant players who can be potentially well groomed and can be really lethal in the upcoming seasons. Of course, their main star player Ben Stokes joined much later to the team, I think, which was a major challenge for the Rajasthan Royals team, but they have had brilliant performance from Ben Stokes' teammate in the form of Jofra Archer, who had played exceptionally well, and he was very precise with his bowling. He was lethal. And apart from that, in the Indian squad, Rahul Tewatia has been quite a revelation. He struggled in the very first match, but I think after that, in the very same match against Kings 11 Punjab, when he came back, brilliant, and he showed that his hitting abilities are exceptionally great. So I think the Rajasthan Royals basically only had the major issue of maintaining consistency, and Robin Uthappa, when he was promoted up the order, I think they got much more of a good setup in the terms of batting. The bowling, I think, probably needs a bit more variety. So they have Jofra Archer, Rahul Tewatia is good as a spinner, Gautam is there. So that's good, but I think they probably need to add a bit more variety in the bowling and probably strengthen their batting for the upcoming season. That is one of the major aspects Rajasthan Royals can look into. Coming a bit up, and very disappointing season for the team itself, Chennai Super Kings, who had finished for the first time outside the playoff. I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni, after his retirement, he has come back. Didn't look really good in shape in terms of the fitness, though his keeping was quite good. He took some good catches. The team did not perform as much as expected from the Yellow Army. I mean, the whole idea of Chennai Super Kings has always been consistency, grit, and a very well-oiled machine. But this season, they were not really up to the mark. Shane Watson retired from the Chennai Super Kings this season. That's a big news because he had been a major player for CSK last season, and this season he didn't perform that well in the beginning, though he started to come into form of late, but he retired, and I think that's about probably a good time. Chennai Super Kings need to really look into the aspect of Dhoni's fitness as well as captaincy. Of course, he is important, but who next after Dhoni? Because I think it's probably time to think about a bit more in the future. Their think tank is very sharp with Stephen Fleming at the helm of the affairs. Probably they need to get a bit more Indian squad depth, though I think Rituraj Gaikwad was very good at the end part of the tournament. Initially he struggled, of course. The bowling has been okayish. I mean, Deepak Chahar was good. He could get the ball to swing in the very early part, so that's quite okay, but probably they need to look at more spinners and bit more attack. Faf du Plessis was exceptional in the tournament. I think one of the standout performers for Chennai Super Kings. Sam Curran, he's a good talent. He has been promoted up the order as well. He handles the bowling well, but probably lacks the experience, and he will grow as a player. Apart from that, I think players like Sam Billings could have been given a bit more opportunity, which I personally felt. So I think Chennai Super Kings may really reshuffle a few players here and there, and they may look forward for some certain other options. Coming further up the table, then we have, of course, at the sixth place, Kings 11 Punjab. Kings 11 Punjab has a good team setup and had a good tournament initially, but again, as usual with Kings 11 Punjab, they have again lost their way after, the initial stage of the tournament. In the crucial phases, I think they could not really take it on, and they lost some they lost some games which were just in their favor. They just gave it away. Like one example was the game against Kolkata Knight Riders, which they could have easily won. Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul at the top. Very, very solid opening partnership. And then came Christopher Henry Gale. After a long time, he suffered from food poisoning. Then he came at the very fag end of the tournament. What a performance from the Universal boss. Brilliant. He still showed that he's still a very, very important cricketer and he can perform. Glenn Maxwell, the biggest disappointment for Kings 11 Punjab. I think he really needs to be let go on of the team. I think he was really performing underwhelmingly with his batting and his bowling skills. Well, he was used, but I don't think he's much of a effective bowler at all the times. Though he has picked up wickets at certain times, but his batting was very, very disappointing. And similarly, speaking of bowling, Sheldon Cottrell, another buy for Kings 11 Punjab. I think it was very disappointing from the salute master, the performance he put up for Kings 11 Punjab. I think he could have done much better. So I think that's two foreign players the Kings 11 Punjab may look to let go in the near upcoming season for 2021. Kings 11 Punjab needs to look at players who can add much more depth and consistency. I think that's where the main difference between the playoff makers and the ultimate winners come in. From the teams that do not make the playoff. So speaking about that, I think that is also true for Kolkata Knight Riders, who finished 5th in the table. They were close to qualifying, but again they had to pin their hopes on Sunrisers Hyderabad losing to Mumbai Indians in the last game of the league, which didn't happen, and Hyderabad won it convincingly. Coming back to Kolkata Knight Riders, Nitish Rana had performed well, but he was sometimes off color at times, but he had performed well. But the horrible performances were, of course, from Dinesh Karthik, and I think Sunil Narayan was also disappointing. Not to speak of Andre Russell, who had missed a few games and he could not perform at all to the abilities that one expects from him. And this was one of the most disappointing season for Andre Russell for the Kolkata Knight Riders colours this season. And I think it's time to look at some real fresh players for both the Indian and the foreign squad depth. I think Kolkata Knight Riders lacked that at times. Morgan was very good. Pat Cummins had tried hard and he did put up some good commendable performances considering the huge amount of money that was spent to get him on board. But Kolkata Knight Riders needs to look at some young players, and when speaking of a young player, Shubman Gill had scored runs, but I think his scoring rate was slow, and I think off times he did not put up a good start that is generally expected consistently from a player like Shubman Gill, especially when he's one of the linchpin of the batting and the opening batsman as well. So I think that's where I think Kolkata Knight Riders think tank with Venki Mysore and Brendan McCullum, they need to look ahead. Now coming to the top 4 playoff spots, starting with Sunrisers Hyderabad. They made to the playoff at the very last game, but they have a good side. They had performed well. They lost some close games. Ridhiman Saha came in at the very end of the tournament. Again got injured, but the 2 games he played really well. David Warner was very good, but probably this time David Warner and Johnny Bairstow did not put that kind of fire that was expected from that opening partnership, which was really lethal in the last season or the season before. That's where I think one. But Natarajan, I think, has been a great revelation in terms of the bowling attack of Sunrisers Hyderabad. He was very good, and not to forget that even Sandeep Sharma was really good. He lacks the pace generally, but he's very wily customer, and he has been a good performer for Sunrisers Hyderabad. And of course Rashid Khan, with his wily spin and world-class abilities, I think he has been a very good performer for Hyderabad as well. And last but definitely not the least, the very important contribution of Kane Williamson. What a calm head, just knows how to get things done, and he's so adaptable and such a team man, has always been there. can move up and down the order and really brings in a lot to the Sunrise Hyderabad team. Probably needs to look at a few players in terms of the Indian squad. I mean, Manish Pandey had performed well in certain games, but I mean, much more is expected from him. They have put in some young players like Priyam Garg, who would probably evolve over the period of time. That's why I think Sunrise Hyderabad is banking on. But I think they have had a good tournament, but just need to look at certain aspects to get even further. Coming even further, I think Royal Challengers Bangalore, much was expected this season. They did make the playoffs. They had a good start to the tournament, and then the second phase of the tournament, they were back to their old self where they consistently lost games 5 in a row. Still, they made the playoffs. Devdutt Padikkal, the emerging player of the year, IPL 2020, was really, really good. He was a great, I mean, to watch in the Indian Premier League tournament. Great revelation, and I think he's a future star for the Indian cricket team as well. Virat Kohli didn't had like a blistering tournament, but he did score quite a lot of runs. Aaron Finch had been inconsistent, to be precise, but the bowling of RCB was quite good this year around with Shiraj and I mean Yuzvendra Chahal using his wily spin, and of course I mean Chris Morris with his all-round capabilities of bowling as well as batting did make it very well and counted for RCB this season, and it was good for them. But I think again disappointment for the RCB fans that they could not make it to the finals and come close to winning the tournament, which has eluded them since the beginning of the Indian Premier League. Coming to the making the finals for the first time, Delhi Capitals, who finished runners-up, made to the finals. Great team, good capabilities, and a very stable batsman and a level-headed captain in the form of Shreyas Iyer, and of course Shikhar Dhawan, who scored back-to-back centuries in the Indian Premier League and created a record, was very good throughout the tournament, except the final. And Prithvi Shaw, I think, probably was one of the bigger disappointments. I mean, he consistently failed probably his flawed techniques while playing, especially pull shots or how to contain swing, I think came to the forefront, and that's a bit of a worry. Marcus Stoinis, I think, had been one of the great players for Delhi Capitals this season, though he could not score a single run in the final, which was disappointing for Delhi Capitals fan. But I think there's a lot of look ahead from that Australian, and he was really good. At the Indian contingent, they had good players. Lakshar Patel, of course, the old one, and even the bowlers in form of Kagiso Rabada, who won the purple cap, and not here from South Africa. His teammate had performed really well. Delhi Capitals, I think, can only get better. They could not win the tournament, but they have had a very good and consistent tournament. They got defeated by Mumbai Indians, the ultimate champions, who were like the juggernauts this season, and broke the jinx of the Mumbai Indians only wins the Indian Premier League in the odd years, and they broke it. So I think Delhi Capitals has a lot to expect in the upcoming tournament as well, with their terrific performance. And coming back to Mumbai Indians, nothing much to say about the team. They seem to be covered in all the aspects. I think they have been really tough team to beat. I mean, they have been such great team, well gelled. They just know the players. They know whom to play. They've got every area covered. From Rohit Sharma, despite his injury problems, he came and played a great innings in the final itself. They've got Kyron Pollard, who had played more than 150 games. Rohit Sharma itself is, of course, there. And then you have got the new star, Ishan Kishan, who has done so well in this tournament. And, of course, I mean, Hardik and Krunal Pandya, the Indian contingent, followed with Rahul Chahar. And, of course, who can forget Jasprit Bumrah, the real star of the bowling attack. I think Mumbai Indians is one team that is really difficult to beat, not to mention that in the opening they have Quinton de Kock, who is also the wicket keeper, and he can provide a blistering start as well. In all these areas, I think Nita Ambani was definitely very happy winning the 5th Indian Premier League, apart from the 2 Champions League that Mumbai Indians have had, and that makes them one of the most successful franchise of the 2020 history in around the world cricket. So I think that's what actually makes the summary of this season. But I think there's a lot to look forward, because in the next few months, again, the Indian Premier League 2021 will be back, because this season the IPL got delayed to a larger extent, and it was nearly the end of the season that the IPL started. So I think that's for now, and hope that more exciting aspects of the Indian Premier League will come up in the upcoming season. Take care, guys. See you soon.